So you've tested your water, but something feels off. Maybe you have low water pressure, or maybe you're not sure if you did get a treatment system where it would go, or you don't know how your well is doing, if it's putting out enough flow or pressure. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can easily do a well inspection on your own. In this video, I'm going to show you in a few steps how you can easily inspect your own well, find out what your own flow rate is without any special tools or requirements. Welcome back to the Clean Water Store channel, where we help folks take control of their water quality and improve their family's health. Hi, my name is Gerry Bulfin, Master Water Specialist, and this is number 2 video of our basic well water series. Let's dive in. So to a lot of folks, doing a physical inspection of your well, testing your well water flow rate, finding how your pressure switch is working, all that can be a mystery, but actually it's very easy to do. With a few basic tips, you can easily inspect your own water quality in your own physical well. The first step you're going to do is actually do a visual inspection of your well head. Now, sometimes your well may be buried in a vault. You might have to remove a lid or cover to get to it. Other times you can just walk right up to it. But the point is, you want to find out where the top of your well is and do a physical inspection of it. There should be no loose wires or gaps or cracks in the top of your well. Anything that would allow dust or insects or even critters to get in the well, obviously you don't want. You want a normal well, will be sealed. You can breathe in air, but it's sealed so that nothing can fall into it. Obviously, most well pumps are 220 voltage, so you don't want to touch any wires unless you turn off the power to it, and you won't need to be careful because it is live voltage. The next thing, if you can get it, you should have a well log, which is a report that your well driller or the original well driller of your property when the well was drilled. This will tell you how deep it is and also give some other data, such as maybe a flow test, whether they did a 1 or 2 hour flow test or a 24-hour flow test. Just give you an idea of what the depth and the physical properties of the well is. And you should have some record of what size pump and the model of the pump that's in there. And that'll give you an indication of how many gallons per minute that well pump can produce. So the other thing that would be good to do would be to check your pressure switch. Again, can be live voltage, but you can remove the cover of the pressure switch and physically look at the inside the pressure switch. And obviously there should be no insects, ants, spiders build up in that pressure switch. It should be clean and dry. The other thing is you can check the air pressure in there. So most standard wells will turn on at one pressure and turn off at another. So for instance, might turn on at 30 or 40 PSI and turn off at 50 or 60 PSI, pounds per square inch. So that's your pressure. So when your pressure tank is depressurized, you just want to check it and make sure it's about 2 to 3 PSI less than what your cut-in is. So if your well turns on normally at 40, then your pressure tank generally should be about 38. If you go to check it for air pressure and there's water come out of that valve, then obviously the pressure tank is bad. Generally, they can't be serviced, they'd just be replaced. You might also have an air to water tank, which is an old style tank, not too common anymore, but they do, some folks still use them. In that case, you just want to make sure it's not waterlogged, that it does have air in there. So the other thing that you can easily do in doing a physical inspection, especially if you're new to the home, is to run your water into a 5-gallon white bucket. And you can visually see, is there any sediment? Is the water clear? Also, we recommend draining your water heater. And there's often a hose bib at the bottom of the water heater, and you can just open that up, run it, attach a garden hose to it, run it in a bucket and flush that out and see if there's any sediment or buildup in the bottom of it. The other thing you'd want to do when you're doing your physical inspection of your house is to check your toilet tank. In the toilet tank and the flush tanks, take off the lid behind the toilet and look inside there. And based on what you see in there, it can often give you an indication of what the quality of your cold water is. So for instance, there might be sediment in there. It could be blue if you have copper corrosion, bubbles, it's frothy if you have iron bacteria. So it'd give you a really good indication, because most of the time folks don't clean their toilet flush tank. Even if they sell the house, they might do a good job of cleaning everything else, but they rarely clean that. So unless the toilet is new, that's a good way to look inside there and see. The only exception, of course, is if it's one of those low flow toilets with an air tank in there, then you can't see anything. But most of the time, most people do still have the standard flush tanks, and you can look in there and see, and that gives you a good indication of what's been happening with the water. The other thing you'd want to do is check for odor, of course, and you want to isolate the odor. Check it at the well, check it in the house, because sometimes water coming out of the well might not have an odor, whereas the water in the house does, which is an indication of a biofilm or buildup that's creating odors in your pipes. The other thing is that you want to isolate it, make sure maybe it's just the hot water that has odor and the cold water doesn't, which indicates that the odor, the sulfur odor, is coming from the water heater. So it's good to isolate the odors when you're doing your physical inspection. And finally, if you have any water treatment equipment installed, you'd want to do a simple water test. Say you have a water softener, you'd want to check before and after to see how it's doing, or an iron filter. And then you could also check for pressure drop, like run the water, see if you have pressure gauge there. You can often tell if there's a pressure drop through the equipment, which can be an indication of how it's doing. And also, I put a link to our guide in this video. Just click on the link below and get your guide on how to go over these steps. It has a checklist, and it makes it very easy for you to go through the physical inspection of your well. So you've tested your water chemistry, you've done your water test, now you've done your physical inspection. In the next video, I'm going to go over how to do a flow test on your well. You can see exactly how many gallons per minute the well pump is producing.